Well, hello and welcome to HPI's Baja Endurance Challenge 2008. We're in Spain, just outside of Barcelona, for this first Baja Endurance final. Now, this is the first event of its kind and there will be plenty of opportunities to catch up and find out just what on earth is going on out there. But we've 12 hours to cram into 1 hour of television, so let's get this underway and go straight to John Hindholf to find out about the qualifier and catch the grid as the race gets started.
So after the practice day, all of the teams were given just 2 laps to try and get their best time. The fastest of the 2 laps is what went forward onto the qualifying. Fastest team got pole position. Simple as that. So with the first drivers in position, this is how they line up. Slovenia on pole position with a very quick 45.5 second lap. In second place, just fractions of a second behind, the wildcard team, effectively a second Spanish squad. Then it's France, Finland, Greece, Germany, Estonia, then down to Malta, Iceland, Spain, Hungary, Italy, the Czech Republic, Poland, and the Netherlands in that distinctive orangey red car. Right at the back, the United Kingdom hadn't had things all their own way in the qualifying. It's a Le Mans start, dash across the track, pull the cord, get the engine started and then scream off. Oh, fantastic start from Estonia. Started in 7th, up to 3rd position, and they're behind the leaders there. It looks like Slovenia in the wildcard team. Oh, there's carnage! Carnage behind the leading pair, and I'm sure that was Estonia involved there, and there's a battle for the lead as the second Spanish team, the wildcard team, go through. Let's go back to the start. And everybody getting a pretty clean start. There's Estonia getting an absolute flyer. Up into 3rd at this position. There they are, turning it the left-hander. Now watch the big bump here. Turns the car right around to face the rest of the teams. Oh, there's Iceland on the inside getting through, but not so lucky. France, Germany, and I think Greece getting caught up there. Back to the leaders now, and it's the wildcard team from Slovenia. 1st and 2nd, then a bit of gap back. That's Finland now in 3rd position. 4th coming through there, the Czech Republic from 13th on the grid. Grid battle there between Hungary and France, and there's Iceland! Iceland in the blue, mainly blue body car, causing more problems for the teams behind them. It's unbelievable to think that this is just the end of the first lap of what is, remember, a 12-hour race. So the wildcard team leading now. Here's that battle further back down the field. That's Iceland just going through. Well, what a topsy-turvy lap that they've had, was as high as 3rd position, but dropping back down again now. It looks like a problem for Greece and Spain getting together, as also going through is Estonia there. Just behind them, we're taking a rather unconventional line and not getting away from it. You can see it's very, very dusty, very slippery, and going wide there. The second of the 2 yellow cars is GB getting lapped. Finland going through there. Netherlands just ahead, about to go a lap down as well. Just see the blue and white flag on the wing end plate. Oh, that GB car not looking happy at all. She's not getting the power down, and compare that with the leading cars that just look a lot more stable, and they're carving their way through traffic at the moment. So the early exchanges then. It's the wildcard team who have made the best of it. Remember, this is a 12-hour race, and look at the concentration there from the wildcard driver.
Well, top RC designer and Baja expert Adam Skelding is watching the whole race for us in the studio. A classic endurance start.
Yeah, going back to the old days really of RC car racing, and in fact Le Mans style racing, where the mechanic runs across, starts the car, and then the driver gets them going. Great start by there, I think it was Estonia.
Yeah,
great start by that guy, but all the cars got away first time. No one had to pull twice. Baja showing its reliability off the line. First corner looked a bit messy though. Estonia, after his great start, then goes and blows it first corner. Bit of a nightmare really, but bit of a midfield pilot, but everyone seems to be going pretty fast now.
You have to say though, by RC racing standards, a pretty clean first lap.
Yeah, very clean. Few problems for the Estonia guy there, but the rest of the field seems to have got away pretty well. From just watching that back, seems like everyone's moving and no major problems first lap, so all the teams will be happy. Nerves are over with now, back down to racing.
Well, only a few minutes in and anticipation is already building. We'll be chatting to Adam throughout the race again, but we wanted to provide you with the full in-depth coverage, not only in the form of a man trackside, but with a man in the thick of it actually competing. And we thought, who better to give you this insight than possibly the world's leading RC broadcaster? Yes, Nick Damon. So early this week, I was tasked with the job of persuading him to get involved. Nick, it's Matt.
Hi, Matt.
How would you like to represent Great Britain in a RC endurance challenge which involves Bajas and travelling to Spain?
No, not really.
Okay, but the thing is, I mean, it's you know, it's going to be great weather. The sun's going to be out.
I really appreciate you thinking of me, mate, but I think I'll give it a miss, mate.
Okay.
1 week, you know, Vegas, 1 week in Silverstone, you know.
Yeah. You vegetarian?
Am I a vegetarian?
Yeah. Are you not all right?
Are you also a vegetarian? No, I'm not a vegetarian.
Right. Okay. Cool. Normal meal option.
What do you mean normal meal option?
On the plane. Okay. So
I can't go to Spain.
and it's DAMAN.
Yes, you know it is.
Okay.
Bye.
Nick?
Oh yeah, we're 20 minutes in now, and the most surprising thing is, well, apart from the fact that we're not doing massively well at the moment, is it's raining. First bit of rain for like 4 days. It's made the track much drier, which has helped keep the dust down. I think later on, when this rain passes over, we're going to see a huge dust cloud. Anyway, the early leader is the Spain wild car. Only one big move, that's Czech Republic, coming 13th up to 3rd. We're 3 laps down, but in fairness, we didn't make a very good start, and the times are coming and going quite well.
I'm expecting Nick to make his Baja debut at some point during the first third of the race. But right now, a nightmare erupting for Estonia. They're one of the stronger teams and they really should have qualified higher. Now, is their race over before it really begins? Let's check in with John Hindhoff for the next instalment of Race Action.
As we rejoin the action, you can see the marshals trying to keep the dust down. Better in some parts of the track than others, have actually hosed down parts of the track. That's the leader, still the wildcard team. Remember this, effectively this second Spanish team here of the 16 nations competing. And you can see it's picking up a lot of dirt and mud on the chassis. Surprised actually that we're able to identify the cars so well. It's a reasonable lead at the moment. Very tricky conditions for the drivers. Some parts of the track quite muddy, and as you see in others still very dry indeed. And our camera just struggling there to even see. This is second place, the Suomi, the Finnish team. Great shots here from the guys. Just look at that suspension working. And Hungary not too far behind. Now there's one of the wetter parts, and you can see the back wheels just scrabbling for grip there, and then back onto the drier section. So hard to know where the grip's going to be. Concentration absolutely essential, even at this early stage. So Finland fighting their way through. Bit of open track at the moment, and of course traffic is going to play a part. But this is Hungary, who have come up from 11th position to 3rd. Good start from them and just establishing themselves. In fact, for my money at the moment, beginning to close down just a little bit on Finland in second. Now let's pick up the pole sitter. There they are, that's Slovenia. 45-second lap for them, put them on pole, but they've lost some pace and now, as I said, down in 9th position. Here's that battle. No, in fact it's not, it's the leader going through on the Netherlands. That's another lap down, and just see how that pressure told. Now here's Estonia in the pits. This is what their problem's been. That looks like an engine problem, and clearly there is the reason why they've been dropping down the field. And at 30 minutes in, this is a real disaster for them. Team GP now. Now they've just about got up to 14th position, but they're starting to drop back again now. And we're hearing that that is down to radio problems. Well, that's unforgivable, isn't it, really? That's the first thing you want to get right. And you can see the pace is not there as Poland went through. And Poland have had a great opening stint. Started 14th at one stage, up to 4th position. Although at the moment they're battling, well, effectively with this car. This is the 4th place car at the moment, and this is Greece. Started in 5th position and has been steady, holding 4th position at the moment, and have a lap lead back to Poland, and is still within striking distance of the top 3 ahead of them. So as we come to the end of the first 2 of 12 hours, his Team GB, that yellow car, their radio problems hopefully now completely behind them.
Well, Adam, you've got a feel for those Estonians, right?
Yeah, they got the lightning start off the line. First corner was a bit of a mishap, but they seem to be get going after that. But now looks like they're stuck in the pits just 30 minutes in with engine trouble.
Engine trouble, 30 minutes in. What's that all about?
I don't know. Could be anything. They might not have run the engine in properly. Could be something really simple. We'll have to wait until we find out what's the report back from the pits. It could be something really simple, but let's hope for those guys it's not something major, because that's a big job engineering.
Now let's look more positively. Let's look to the leaders in this competition at this early stage. The Spanish wildcard team,
Yep.
Finland and Hungary.
Yeah, those 3 guys didn't qualify too well on a single lap, but for the first 2 hours of the race they've been consistently the fastest guys out there. Hare and tortoise adage in endurance racing, got to be fast but consistently fast. Maybe drive at 90% to make sure you don't crash and break your cars like some of the guys are already starting to do.
Yeah. Nick Damon is now talking to the Estonians. We've got to take a break, but come straight back and we'll find out what on earth is going on their pit table. Don't go anywhere.
Here with Thomas from the Estonia team. The first team to have a problem. What was it?
Just the engine died. I don't know. Suddenly started dying and dying and dying. It restarted, but I don't know. We opened it up, but doesn't look anything. But I don't know.
One of those mystery problems. So you just put a new engine in and off you went?
Yep. It took about 20 minutes.
See, 20 minutes. Now the Germans, we've done that in 10.
Yeah, but they swept the whole half of the car.
And things really picking up now for Estonia. They've risen 5 positions in around 2 hours, levelling off at 11th place, but they seem to have held that for a while, looking confident now. Hopefully things are going to go well for them and they're going to continue. I've just heard that Nick is ready to roll. He is on the rostrum. There he is. It would appear that the car, although is in the pits, that's unfortunate. He's ready to go.
Right, Alan said of the problem. I'd have sent it out for a lap to see, to be honest.
Right, already disagreements emerging in the team. I can see Nick, he's quite boisterous, he's got his own ideas and he wants to get out there behind the wheel. Team manager Roger, he wants to do a bit more fine tuning, he wants to set up the car a bit more. That's understandable. Who's got the best plan? Who knows? I'm sure Nick thinks he's in the right, but that's Nick for you. Anyway, the Germans, speaking of fine tuning, take a look at this. Now what you're witnessing here appears to be a live dress rehearsal of an engine change. What's prompted this? Well, we're not sure. Both Adam and John tell me that the car appeared to be running fine, so it's anyone's guess. They are timing this, so could it be that it's just for fun? And there you are, proof. Surely this is mind games. Well, we will find out how long it took and we will see if they can improve. But now, Nick's debut, finally. There he is on the rostrum. Look at the concentration behind those Ray-Bans. Well, he's certainly taking this very seriously and we'll keep an eye on him for you and let you know any of the twists and turns of Nick's adventure. Of course, this isn't the first run out he's had. There was a day of practicing and testing yesterday for all the teams. So let's have a look back at Nick and the team's preparations yesterday.
It's Friday, it's just gone 5, so halfway through practice, so there's 4 hours of practice on the Friday. I've sort of been here for a while, been watching, observing, and this is my team, who thankfully know what they're doing by the looks of it. They're actually trying different ratios, different throttle guides, all that sort of thing. Any minute now I may actually get out on the track. I think they're probably trying to get as much time as possible before letting me actually drive the car. But it's interesting, if you look around, this is the pits. Now, you may think, well, what's important with the pits? It's the fact that any endurance race is won or lost in the pits. This year's Le Mans 24 Hour, Peugeot fastest car, they lost the whole race in the pits. Anybody can keep their car going for the whole 12 hours is probably going to win, no matter how fast they are. You've got to keep the breakages to a minimum, you've got to have quick, efficient fuel changes. Also, I think you might not bargain for, you've got to change transmitter batteries, receiver batteries. But it's all done as quickly as possible, and the one thing you've got to not do is end up in here.
And Nick has finished his run. Let's see how that's affected the GB team.
Well, that in honesty, that's the most frustrating 45 minutes of racing I've ever had. There's so little grip out there, and they're constantly changing surface. It's very, and to be honest, the standard of driving is appalling. I'm used to drivers who know how to overtake. No, most of the guys there, they just drive through you. Particularly car 6. I don't know who car 6 is, but I would willingly have him thrown out of the meeting. Obviously, he probably feels the same about me, but honestly, it's a difficult enough situation, but people are not giving each other room. On a plus point, we've moved up a couple of positions, and I've got our team's fastest lap by a second and a half, so that's all right, but bloody hell, it's hard out there.
Car 6 is of course the Germans, and we'll catch up with their progress and the rest of the teams as we go back to the track for the latest update from John Hindhoff.
Well, there are the Germans in the 6 machine. Not Nick's friends, as we've heard. The curse of Dearman, perhaps. But, like the guys in the studio, I am bewildered as to why they did that early engine change, because the pace of the car was fine. And in fact, since the engine change, they've lost a bit of pace. And, as you can see there, just seem to try to overdrive the machine to try and make up that time. 10 minutes for the engine swap, not bad. Getting involved with the Netherlands there, they just don't need to do this. Remarkable, don't understand it at all. Now here we are with Finland, the number 4 machine, who are having a cracking race, just keeping out of trouble. And they have been in the lead. The team wildcard, little mistake for the leader, thank goodness the marshals are keeping their wits about them. Yeah, Finland in the lead. The wildcard team had problems with an air filter, I'm sure due to the huge amount of dust early on. So Finland taking the best use of that. There are the second Spanish team, the number 2 buggy, just going through on Greece, who've had their own problems with a rear shock shaft that needed to be changed. So now we know that the wildcard team have the pace, and they are going to have to fight their way back through the field. But they've got the skill and clearly have the pace in the car. Now that is Hungary. They have been up into 3rd place, but sadly for them, a small servo problem did drop them back. But that car seems to be going very well now. Now remember Iceland, they started in 9th position on the grid. Managed to avoid that nasty first lap, 3rd corner incident. Although after that they did have a couple of accidents of their own that did cause problems for the teams behind them. Up as high as 3rd, although down to 9th. Still pushing very, very hard indeed. As you can see, the conditions are still very difficult, with some dry and some wet and some very, very dusty areas still out on the circuit. Team GP there, oh dear, not making friends with that lady marshal. Oh, and here's more problems. Who's that? It's Iceland. Oh no, not again. What a shame. Down into the pit lane. We'll find out what that problem is in a moment. Now here's Italy. They've been down to the bottom of the timing and scoring screens a couple of times, spending, I'm afraid, rather too much time in the pit and paddock. It is a fact, though, that in endurance racing, it's as much about your speed of solving problems in the pits as it is out on the track. Now, here's the Icelandic team desperately trying to restart their car. We heard there was carburetor problems. Now, I wonder if it's something more simple. The fuel cap is coming off. There's no fuel. There's no fuel in it. It needs to be taken away and refueled. They've just really got themselves into a bit of a panic there. Well, we were wetting down the track with hoses earlier on, but now the weather is playing its part. Look, the rain is falling, and that seems to have been good news for Hungary here. Problems for Iceland, Italy and Germany has meant that Hungary have rocketed up the standings, managed to lead at one point. Oh, and here's Team GP with, a front wheel gone. Back to the leaders now. This is the wildcard team after their early problems, going very well indeed. And completing another lap and losing a wheel. Well, goodness me, they're not immune from it. They've driven back up through the standings since that air filter problem. Now, how quick can we get that car back to the pit lane? absolute scene of pandemonium in the pit lane. The rain has brought all kinds of problems, and in there are our leaders, the wildcard team, the second Spaniards, working away to replace that left rear wheel. That's a tremendous job in the pit lane. What was I saying a little earlier about solving problems? And they're back out without losing the lead. That's a tremendous job.
Okay, let's go for a quick weather watch with Nick Damon. Nick, you're being rained on.
Yeah, it's not fair. I came to Spain for the good weather. It's interesting because the rain is really chucking it down now, and at the moment the track's probably at the best it's been all day. But pretty soon it's going to get all gunky and clayey and horrible, and the cars will start slowing down again, get covered in gunk. There's no way we'll know who's going forward in position, so watch out for a cameraman following very brown cars. But basically, it's horrible.
Well, Adam, it has perhaps taken some of the teams by surprise, the change in conditions, and the frustration for the drivers stuck on the gantry while the team fiddle around below them, but also the pressure that the mechanics were. Now, you've been on both ends of this, haven't you? What must that be like?
When you're pitting for someone who, when the weather's like this, it can be quite easy to start rushing. It's not the ideal thing, but it's natural, it's human nature. But best to take a nice, cool, calm, steady approach. Make sure you get that wheel nut on, or whatever you're doing. Make sure you get it on safely rather than rushing. You may save half a second.
Right, so it may well look like mayhem out there, but the best teams and the best mechanics will actually know what they're doing in all this panic. We've also been hit by controversy. The Polish team are being given a stiff talking to by Frank McKinney. Now, it would appear that they've used the same driver for 6 hours, and they have no plans to change him. Nick is trackside.
Well, it's not just controversy. Since you've been away, we've had a huge rainstorm, the track got wet, and suddenly all the cars started hitting trouble. Just about everyone's had an engine cut, the cars weigh 2 kilograms more with the mud on them, and more importantly, our leaders, the Spanish wildcard, they've hit major clutch issues and they've lost 15 laps. Out in the front, we've got Hungary from Finland, but in third place, and great controversy again caused by Poland. The pole's obviously there, but the one driver has done 6 hours and he's just been kicked off by the race director for unsportsmanlike behaviour. It's supposed to be a team event. They want you to run the entire event with one pole because the rest of them are crap.
I'm sure that's not true. We'll keep tabs on Poland for the rest of the 6 hours and see how they get on with their new driver formation. Adam, it's still raining.
I know, it's a nightmare. I don't know how these guys are coping, especially in the pits. They'll all be getting drenched. Drivers will be getting drenched. We've already seen them getting drenched on the rostrum. Cars will be getting heavy and heavy. They'll start the handling will start to feel a bit iffy now.
Well, yeah, that's a good point, isn't it?
The shocks are going to start to clag up. The suspension will clag up. It's not going to be good for the drivers out there now.
We've got to take a break. Don't go anywhere.
Well, if ever a shot sums up the last hour of racing, that's it. Very heavy rain, and an educated guess, that might be Team GB, have actually changed their body to a slightly different colour. That car not really wanting to restart, having been upturned. And you can see that the dust that we had earlier has gone, and we are racing in a quagmire. I am told by our director that that is Malta, who... his eyes are better than mine. The wing end plates where the numbers are, I can't see it all. Malta have done well and got up into 5th place. They're relishing these muddy conditions. Now here's the Germans in the pits. We worried about their tactics earlier on, about doing that engine change when it didn't seem necessary. But this is France, and well, that is a major repair. Look, they've gone inside. They're not even in the pit lane, and that is forced maintenance. Nothing routine about that. Here's Italy. Look at the colour of that car. You can just about see the tricolore on the front. Now, while this is going on, of course, everyone else still racing. Oh, now that's the wildcard driver, and he's not happy. He's off the podium, so where's the car? The car's in the pit lane. There's Nick Damon. Now, clutch. I'm hearing Nick saying clutch spring problem for that car. Now, that's the second time it's had a clutch spring problem, and this is costing them time, and this time this problem is going to cost them the lead. Here comes Hungary. They're making up time and will take the lead here. Whilst the wildcard team, remember that second Spanish team, is still in the pit lane. Well, they've taken over to refuel it, but it's still not starting. And coming back, oh, the time is leaching away. They are losing a lot of time here. This is a disaster for them. They'd fought back from that problem early on. Now here's Finland. They're coming up as well, making up positions. In from 5th, here's Greece. Oh, that's a very, very slow stop indeed. Now they'll give it a wash off just to, well, clearly to have a quick look around. But that, I think, is a portent of more problems because that car came in far too slowly. Now here's the wildcards. They are back out again, but they have dropped down now to 4th position. Well, it's going to be a big ask. We've got half the race still to run, but a big ask now. They're going to have to be pretty much trouble-free right through the second half of the race if they're going to get back on terms and confirm from the pit lane. 2 problems with that clutch spring has really cost them their lead. Now, there's Slovenia. Now they're benefiting up to 5th position from problems from other teams, including Iceland here, who are not having a good day. Their position pretty much in free fall at the minute as they're going to be lucky to hold on to a position inside the top 10. And Greece having problems as well. That's another team that are dropping down, benefiting that Slovenian car that we saw a moment or two ago. But here's the leaders as we come to the end of this hour. This is Hungary, and they've done a cracking job to be leading it in these conditions.
Thanks, John. Yes, it is still raining. We are in Spain and conditions are really tough for those drivers. Hopefully things will pick up. It wasn't always like that though. Let's remind ourselves of how things were this morning when Nick arrived at the track.
Race morning dawns on a fine, sunny Spanish morning. The refrains of Spanish Europop playing behind the speakers and the sense of anticipation amongst the 16 teams about to take the start of this 12-hour endurance race. But first, we have qualifying and obviously the team presentation before the engines start roaring at midday.
Well, the engines are roaring and we've got to get back to the race because Nick is with our hero, the Polish driver, Jack. He can keep going for 6 hours, you know.
Really?
Yeah, he's a phenomenon. He's been kicked off the stand, he's controversial, but he can keep going. They can't stop him, only they have. And now Nick's talking to him, trackside.
We're with the Iron Man of the Polish team, it's Jack. You ran 6 hours. Why?
Why? Because in our team we have only two real drivers.
So will your teammate, who's up there, be doing the other 6 hours, or will other members have a go?
Yes, but I don't know. Then he can. Maybe I must go up and change.
Well done so far.
Yeah, let's keep a close eye on that one. Newsflash, it stopped raining. Let's check in with John Hindhoff for the next instalment of Race Action.
Well, as you can see, the sun beginning to sink below the horizon, and the team who have really done the best over the last hour or so have been Hungary. Tremendous consistency from the Hungarian team. Now, clearly, a lot of this is down to their very good driving. Example of what we are seeing now. Not always the quickest at every part of the circuit, but as you can see, they have been safe, and more importantly, they have stayed out of the pits. And that hasn't been the story for every other team up and down the pit lane. Our camera's actually making it look a little bit lighter out there than it is, thanks to the cleverness of modern electronics. Now, here's a problem in the pit lane. This is Poland. Now, they had been running well up the field. Let's put the controversy about who's driving to one side for a moment, but this is a lengthy pit stop, and that's going to cost them dropping down the field. They were up as high as second at one stage. Now, this is Iceland. Been a topsy-turvy race for them. They've been up and down the field. And there, oh, well, I was just going to say there with their problem solved is the wildcard team. And as I say that, they're back out on track, but just for a moment on their roof. Well, let's hope that's the end of their problems as they fight back towards the front. Now, here's a team that's been doing very well. The rain stopped, so they're cleaning off the Estonian car here. They've been having a cracking battle with the Czech Republic. They've got up into 7th position. Team GB, meanwhile, despite Nick Damon's best efforts to push them back down the field, have actually got up to their best position, up to 13th. And whilst that doesn't sound very good, what they're aiming for is just to get to the end of the 12 hours. That problem for the wildcard teams dropped them down to 5th. Malta have sneaked up into 4th, and as we move into the next phase of the race, darkness, the top 3 are Poland in 3rd, then Finland and Hungary still with that big lead.
Well, Adam, what's the focus going to be with this night driving? What's that going to mean for the drivers?
Night driving is actually pretty hard. For the guys who are just coming on to the rostrum, if they've not driven in night before, your cars can look a lot faster. They're not faster, but they do look it. To your eye, your car will seem faster. Their lap times, it will take them a while to adjust. And I wouldn't be surprised to start seeing the lap times actually get longer now because people start overshooting corners. Tiredness will creep in. Also, the cars are now, after all that mud from the rain earlier, the suspension will be starting to free off, so the cars will be coming back in one sense, but then going away from them, the drivers will just be finding this a nightmare.
So we're looking to be seeing some messy, haphazard, all over the shop cars out there on the track.
Yeah.
But it's going to be the persistent, concentrated drivers that are going to win this, going to take this, and Hungary seem to be doing that.
Yeah.
Persistent is one word. I'm just hearing that our hero, Jack from Poland, is back. This is just footage coming in right now. He's now taking back the controls after Frank McKinney ordered him off the rostrum not to return. Well, we're well and truly into the twilight zone now, but we've got to take a break. So stick with us and we'll be back after this with the final instalment of this awesome Baja Endurance Challenge.
Well, after the problems with first dust, then the water track, and then of course the quagmire from the torrential rain, the floodlights now provide a new challenge as they're warming up here. The drivers getting used to some new conditions. Poland, well, they haven't fared too well. Slipped down to 7th position. They did try and sneak on their opening driver, Jack, remember? Well, he was thrown out though by race director Frank McKinney. Now here's the wildcard team back on the circuit and actually putting in some very respectable and consistent times. And they've moved up from 5th into 3rd position. Properly dark now as the lights are shining out over this tremendously technical course. And the drivers really having to squint a little bit in the darkness. Even our cameras struggling, although it does look a lot brighter now than it did in the twilight. But look at the shadows, very different indeed. Hungary have done a cracking job and their lead has now stretched to over 20 laps. Finland and the recovering wildcard team in 2nd and 3rd, and there is Finland. It's been a good run from them, hasn't it? As all of their driving squad have been putting in very competitive times, and that I think is such an important part of these endurance races, to have a balanced driving squad. No good having an absolute star if the rest of the drivers can't keep up the pace. It was rather the tactics of Poland, wasn't it? Now there's Estonia. It's been a tremendous run from them. They have steadily been making up places right the way through. There's the Estonian driver, centre of shot now. Remember at the end of the first hour, when in fact after just 30 minutes they changed an engine, they were down to last position. And as we come to the end of another period of racing, they've fought all the way back up to 5th and look challenging. And I wonder if they can even improve their positions from there.
Okay, let's get the latest from Nick Damon, who is trackside. Nick's a bit past your bedtime.
Yeah, it's gone 10 o'clock now, 2 hours to go. Still got the Hungarians lead. They had a bit of a scare a while ago. They lost 10 laps with an electrical problem. But the interesting thing now is it's dried up and the track's beginning to break up. It's getting very rutted. These Bahas are exceptionally tough, but you know, you hit one badly, you can have a corner off the car, and it can all change still. There's 2 hours to go. Anyone's race, apart from ours, obviously, because we're a long way back.
Tell us about that. You are on the front line. Give us the latest from Team GB.
Very good. Well, basically, we had a dreadful first 6 hours. We had a number of problems. We've got way back into it, but the last 4 hours, touch wood, the cars run virtually perfect. We've only had about 5-10 minutes off in the last 4 hours. We're slowly getting back. We're already past the Italians, the French, and we're gunning for the Spanish.
Thanks, Nick. Bring us the latest from the bottom of the table. Let's have a look at who's up the top. Finland ahead, but certainly by no means comfortably. Look at the concentration on the Finn's face. Wild card driver, he's got some work to do, and they still don't have this car running right. Hungary, well, maybe starting to chill out a bit now. And time is ticking away, so let's get straight back to Nick in the pit lane.
I'm here now with Jonni from Finland. It's going quite well, second place, confident?
At the moment, we have a little bit engine problem at the moment, and also with the clutch, but I hope we can manage this half hour.
You got 6 laps on the wild card team, so you have one little tiny problem, that's it.
Yeah, but it's an amazing thing that the wild card is going down, suddenly it's coming up, and I'm not sure if the results are correct.
Well, I think the reason is when it runs, it's fast, but it keeps stopping running. Had lots of other problems, but good luck. Yes, the wild card, they're from Spain, they're locals. We think they're doing something dodgy with their tyres, but we don't know. But they keep breaking down, they're coming back, and breaking down, they're coming back. Can they come back to second? Because the Hungarians need a big problem to drop out first.
Well, as we head into the closing hour of this race, this is a tremendous battle. It's been going on for the last 60 minutes or so, with Finland here, and in third place behind them, it's the wildcard team, and they have been on that same lap for the better part of an hour. Who is going to crack first? Finland across the line. Now, where is the wildcard team? Answer, there they are in the yellow buggy, and look at the pace there. They feel that there's something on, and they're trying to apply as much pressure as they can on the Finns, who've cracked under it. Well, normally the ice-cool Scandinavians have given away a big part of their advantage, and now it's game on. Right through the infield, touching of wheels, and Finland now know that they're going to have to defend. Can they keep it going as they head into the midsection? Oh, Iceland takes a tumble there after being hit by the wildcard team. Well, they've had an eventful 11 plus hours, haven't they? But can you believe it, after all this time, and we're looking at the battle for second place, and that is the gap between them. Forget about the third buggy in the picture there, many laps down, but this is the battle for second and third across the line. And all of a sudden, everyone's walking up, and another mistake by Finland, and they've dropped back through. Has gone the wildcard team. Well, you could knock me over. That is quite remarkable. Just as we were settling in for the last part of the race, and it all kicks off in that battle for second. Now here's the leaders, Hungary, and they have been doing a cracking job. They've pretty much doubled their lead in the last couple of hours or so. Oh, and here is more problems for the wildcard team. Just got up into second place, and once again, look, all kinds of problems here. What is this? Seems like a control problem. They're lifting up the bodywork. Do something with the controller. Rev it, wiggle it, do something. Now, is this a recurrence of the receiver battery? It's not revving. Now it is. Get it back out on the pit lane and get it out there. They've lost second place though. Finland's gone through. I think they might even have lost a full lap. Oh, Finland now have problems. That was no, we didn't see the start of that. Could have been over, but it was certainly a stall. They were complaining of clutch problems earlier on. So it's fingers crossed for these guys as well. Well, nobody wants to take second position. And how will that affect the driving style? Look, he doesn't want to throttle off through the corners in case that engine stalls again. True drama here in that battle for second and third. Hungary lead from Finland in second, and the wildcard team still just about holding on to third. Let's go back to Nick Damon.
Less than an hour to go, Matt, 58 minutes, and whilst the Hungarians are still well in the lead, the battle for second between Finland and Spanish wildcard, there is 9 seconds. After 11 hours, there's 9 seconds to the team. Finland had a small problem, lost that 6-lap lead. They're both out there, they're both running. Finland's going quicker. Who will come second? I don't know, but I'm off to the bar to fight. Oh, sorry, no, I'm not off the bar, I'm off round the corner to the bar.
Dramatic footage coming in right now. Spain's wildcard and Finland have been locked. As we've heard, it, the same lap for over an hour is quite phenomenal in endurance racing.
Yeah, it's been really close between these guys. The Hungarians seem they've gone there. They're way in front, but these two guys are been on the same lap for the last hour. And
well, look at this. I mean, the Spanish driver, he's been off the rostrum. They're falling behind now, and this is where Finland are going to capitalise. He's come back up thinking, well, I just got to fix the body shell. Yeah, and they're going to start it. It's all plain sailing.
Yeah, this is where driver frustration.
Look at this frustration.
He's probably been down there mechanicking for his mates earlier on. Now they weren't doing a great job, and he's gone down. Gives them a hand. Looks like they might get the car started now.
Finally, I mean, this must
hopefully. Oh no, still. I know they've like just changed the wheel. Had to change the body, get the body shell put back on, and. This guy here's really going out the car.
Look, he's telling. What's he saying? Is he saying?
I don't know.
What's he saying?
I don't know. It's probably.
It's in Spanish.
Yeah, it's probably like. Oh, it looks like. No, it sounds like they've got it going. No, still trying.
No.
He'll be.
He's up there. Now to us this is in real time, but to him this will be taking hours, won't it?
Oh yeah. I mean, it may. This is.
Look at this. Right.
He's had enough now.
He's off the rostrum, but he's going.
That's it.
This is it.
I wouldn't want to be the mechanic now.
Do you want a job doing?
Now they've got it going, and
where's the driver? He's nowhere to be seen. He's back. Right, okay, here we go. Spain, they're back in the race. Well, let's go back to John Hindhaugh to catch the dying minutes of the race.
Well, here are Hungary, and to be honest, guys, I'm not sure even a mechanical failure can stop them now. They're about half an hour ahead of everyone else if you take the laps in. Well, and they are stopping at the moment, or they're coming in for was this a splash and go at the end? The driver didn't look worried. Indeed, it's not a splash and go. I like this. Bit of national pride. Get the tie wraps onto the national flag. The Hungarians, see, he knew that all the time, didn't he? Bit of grandstanding. He's even got time, of course, to wait and join in, so he's not getting involved in anyone else's battles further down the field. There's the wild card in third place, the second Spanish team. That's not the Spanish flag there, that's someone else's bodywork. They have had a tremendous race, and to be honest, on pace, they were probably the quickest car, but they've had too many problems, and they haven't managed to regain second position from the Finns here. But there are our winners, I am sure now. They have led for more than 6 hours with only 2 unscheduled pit stops. Remember, just half an hour in, they had that shock engine change which dropped them right to the back, but since then they've done their job on and off the track in tremendous form and managed to stay out of trouble. The Finns, well, they think they'll be quite happy with second position. They fought hard for it and got it back in the last hour. And is this another problem for Hungary? No, I think don't get tangled up there. I think he wants the glory and the finish photograph for himself, and why should he not? 15 out of 16 of the Baja B cars finished, and it's Hungary that takes it once the flag marshal gets out the way. Thank you very much indeed. And even the dust and 2 hours of heavy rain couldn't stop the fun, and we'll be back to do it again next year.
And let's go over to Nick now, who's with our winners.
The victorious Hungarian team, well done.
Yes, yes.
You made it look very easy.
No, that was not easy.
Too easy.
That was not too easy. That was a good race. We have luck. The team was good.
And you had enough time at the end to put a little flag in the car and run around for a couple of laps?
Yeah, we have more laps. Yeah, with the flag.
No. That's clean in Hungary, otherwise we could be taken off the air. Well done, guys. And wandering across to see where the second place people? Where the Finns gone? Ah, there are some Finns. Ah,
We did
No,
it.
we didn't.
Well, it's a very, very close that last hour, you and the second Spanish team, ebbing and flowing. And also towards the end, your car kept stopping.
Yeah, we had actually the last 6 hours, our clutch was like stone. So whenever the wheel stopped, the engine stopped. So we just needed to keep it going. And at the end of the race, the marshals also understood that they needed to lift the back of the car when they were kind of restarting it. So that was great, kind of great sportsmanship from all the teams, and all the help that we got. We really appreciate that.
It's a great result, 12 hours. I mean, was it worth it?
I think definitely, yeah.
Luckily, I've got a beer. I think there's more for you guys in the after show. Okay, there you are. Oh God, bloody foreigners, honestly.
Well, if you missed it, here's how they finished. Our champions Hungary held the lead for 6 hours and finished with 737 laps. Finland in second won the long-running battle with third place Spanish wildcard, and Estonia, after tragedy, fought hard for an inspirational fourth place. Also finishing a respectable 13th. Let's go over to GB's Nick Damon for some final thoughts.
Well, it's been great fun. It's been very tiring. A huge amount of sponsorship. I think the most remarkable thing is we run 12 hours with basically kits, and we've got 15 finishers of the 16 starts. Only one car couldn't make the finish, and they dropped out of 10.5 hours. Yes, we've all had our odd trials and tribulations, but most of them have been things caused by serious electrical things or problems with carburetors that we expect. But basically, the rigidity and the strength of the chassis of the Baja is quite amazing, to be honest. I am very surprised. I must admit, I came here thinking, oh yeah, we'll get 7 or 8 home, but 15 out of 16, what more can you say? And good fun had by all.
Well, thanks Nick, and thanks to John for the race commentary. Also Adam, thank you very much. Final word?
Yeah, Estonia have been a team of the meeting for me. Those guys had all the trouble in the world at the start, come back up, and in the last half hour they've snatched fourth. Great result for those guys.
Well, a remarkable 12 hours of adrenaline and excitement. And in the end, it's the Hungarians who take the HPI Baja Endurance Challenge 2008. We'll see you next time.